All right, so we're gonna do the brake pads on a 2018 Yukon, GMC Yukon. The brake pads are pretty wore out. It's hitting the wear indicators to let you know it's time to change your brake pads. So we're gonna go ahead and get that done. You're gonna either use a little small crescent wrench or a 19mm wrench to hold this guide pin for the brake caliper. So it's a 13mm for the bolt itself. These have a little bit of thread locker, so it might be a little tight to take off. So if you can see that, the yellow part right there, that's thread locker, keeps it from vibrating loose or any of the sort. Now I'll get the bottom one. Let me hold the brake caliper back, so I'll put the bolt back in. There we go. 2 bolts on the caliper, 1 and 2, and they both have thread lock. Go ahead and pull off the caliper itself. They're aluminum, so they're nice and light. Take off the brake pad, put it on the caliper like so. Your brake piston compressor. Put this out of the way. We're gonna compress the caliper piston. And as you're doing this, just look around this boot right here. It's a rubber boot, and make sure you don't see no cracks or fluid leaking out. That could be an indicator you have a bad brake caliper, or it could be getting dirt inside this piston and cause it to scar up. So just have a watchful eye. Okay, so it doesn't compress anymore. And don't compress it tight, you know, right away. So it's sticking out probably a 1/4 inch, maybe just a little bit more, so you know it's completely compressed. And if you go put it on and it doesn't go over the brake pad, then you know it's not fully compressed. Take off your little guide plates. Sometimes they're a little stuck. Like this one. Okay. There we go. Might as well just replace these. It usually comes in your brake kit. So this is your wear indicator. So this little metal piece right here, you could see it's just a little bit above the metal of the base of the brake pad. So that's gonna tell you that your brakes are needing to be changed out. If you start hearing it squeal as you apply your brake pedal. As you can see, this one started doing so. You can see the little shiny part right there. It was touching the brake rotor. So it doesn't damage the rotor in any sort. It just light pressure to give you a good squeal, so you know you better get your brakes checked. Went with the factory brakes on this Yukon. New brake pads. And your new hardware. All these do is just press them into place. Top one. Okay. If you do feel your brake pad, your old brake pad's kind of stuck when you try to get it out, these actually have little locking pins. If you could look right here, this little tab right there, it's actually keeping the brake pad from coming out. And on these guide plates, I'll show you. You have these little arms right here, and that keeps the the brake pads from hanging on the rotor and wearing them out. So it automatically separates the brake pad, as you can see that. A lot of the older cars didn't have that, so you might kind of freak out when you go to put them on this new one. Then all we got to do is put the brake rotor back on. Before you do this, I already checked it on this one, but this also comes with a silicone grease, and that's for these guide pins that are inside here. These ones still have a lot of silicone on them, so it's fine. I don't have to put any, but if you need to put some, pop off this little rubber piece right here, the little screwdriver, put the grease in, put it back on, and just run the grease through it. But you can hear these ones, there's plenty of grease in there. So you got to push these in, and then the brake pads, kind of compress them a little bit with your fingers, and there you go. So I'm gonna put some Loctite, just like the factory had it. Keep these from budging. You don't have to have a big bottle like I do. You could get a little packet from AutoZone for like $1.50, and you just put a few drops. All right, so all that's left is tying down the 2 bolts, put your wheel back on, and that completes the job for a 2018 GMC Yukon. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and torque the rear wheels after we did the brake job. The spec is 140 foot-pounds. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get it tightened down.